Hey, putting all my stuff down. Got the Sheraton, use number 128 today on my Nacet. Got 7 up there at the top, so that's 127. So today's 128. We've already got the Nacet loaded in the razor. This is the brush we'll be using, Semogue 1800. He's next in the rotation. Now, I have used this as a shaving bowl before, lather bowl. I'm not using it that way today. As I mentioned yesterday, I found this tip, and this is a bowl that I had on hand, just to have a bowl underneath the faucet in the sink to be able to rinse your razors with instead of having to turn the faucet on every time. So I'm giving that a shot today. I think it should work out pretty cool. Let's see. And this has been soaking for a couple hours in something else different today is distilled water. I use a simple clear cup for my soaking, and take a look. See, I've got hard water, and there's the hard water stains. So I thought, holy cow, I don't want to be soaking if I'm doing this Boar break-in method of just a good long soak before use. Then I better not do it with my tap water. So brought out the distilled water, and we'll use that from now on. All right, so we'll get him back in the water. Nice soft brush, has broken in very easy. The soap today, I hooked out with my 1/4 teaspoon measure. It's ready to go. I've already pressed it into the bottom of my lather bowl. The link to the 3D printable files for this bowl by Roger Quintero is going to be on the description of this video. A long time ago, my first big order of Stirling samples, I decided to do a blind sample, and that educated me pretty well on a lot of Stirling's soaps. Well, number 5 turned out to be Baker St. So that's what this guy is. Many of you new guys, won't even know what this is, right? It's a 35 millimeter film canister, and they used to be everywhere because when you took a roll of film, you pulled it out of this canister and used it in your camera. You took the film to be developed, and this stayed in your house, potentially in a shoebox or something like that. Well, it turns out the 2 ounce samples, 1 ounce samples, I don't know, the samples from Stirling almost perfectly fit in this container. Who knew? All right, so I've already scooped out. When I first tried this maybe 1.5 years ago, it had this very piercing, pungent scent. It's kind of high. It gave me the feeling, not necessarily the scent, but the feeling of the pungency of a recently lit match, and that vapor, sulfur, I don't know, that kind of comes up and kind of stings you a little bit if you inhale it. And so I don't know if that was a really high, punchy cedar, or I think there's the bergamot, or one of the orange family, neroli or something. That's almost like the zest of an orange that could potentially have that effect. Don't know what it was, but it put me off. I didn't really enjoy the soap. Number 1, I don't get that anymore when I smell this sample. Maybe age has changed it. But I'm also a different shaver than I was 1.5 years ago. My tastes could be very different, so we'll see how this goes. All right. Right now in dry form, just a nice pleasant scent. Got some green notes. Probably some kind of citrus in there. It's about all I'm getting right now. All right. So the idea is this bowl that's in my sink is under the faucet. When I do face rinses, that water goes into the bowl for the most part. And then that will fill it up, and then when it comes time to actually shave, instead of having to turn the tap on and off to rinse, each time I can just stick the razor down and swish it in the bowl. This keeps me from having to fill up a sink, because sinks can get messy and gross and weird, especially if you have kids, right? And so I don't want to fill up the sink. I also don't like the soap scum and the hair bits that just glue themselves to the side of the sink that you have to clean up every time. So I think this is a neat hybrid method that somebody came up with online. It was probably I think it was the Badger and Blade forums, or maybe the Damn Fine Shave forums. Probably one of those. All right. So let's splash my face a little bit. I'll go ahead and let that bowl fill up. Ready for swishing. All right. Using tap water, whatever comes out of the cold. And right now it is winter, so it is actually cold water. And now we mix. Shaking out most of the water. I looked in a previous shave, and it said with Stirling that when I used about 1/4 teaspoon of soap, that's usually what I did need in terms of the amount of soap to get the quantity that I want. It said that I used 2.5 teaspoons of water for that lather, and I got enough lather, but it was a little on the watery side of good. And so I'll try 2 teaspoons, or at least I'll kind of stop at 2 teaspoons and just test it out really well. Well, as usual, Stirling is one of those soaps that really got foamy quickly, but I just kept mixing and it turns into something like this after not too long at all. Okay, and so now that we know it is a 2 teaspoon is what we're probably going to go for, why don't we just dump it all in and see what happens. See if Stirling is one of those. See how convenient and fast a lather we can generate. Now, I've said this a few times. I'll say it again. I measure because I'm kind of scientific minded, and I do it so that you can have some idea about what I'm doing if you're having trouble with your lathers. And so, worst case, you got some type of measuring tool and used it to make sure that you are getting in the ballpark, right? I'm not saying that this recipe, this measurements that I'm saying, I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just reporting how it works out for me. Your brush may make things different, so it's just to give you a ballpark, because some people they add just a little bit of water and they get that thick lather in the beginning and they try to shave with that, and then they think they've added a normal amount of water when it's really highly underwatered. Looks like Stirling is not having a problem with all the water added in. So a common thing for you to do if you don't want to be the kind of person who has like a syringe or a measurer or something like that, if you use the same brush, is to start pulling that brush out of the water. Maybe wait for the drips to stop. Shake it a few times, like count the shakes. Try to keep that uniform. And then see if you can keep that. Let's pretend that 2 teaspoons is the perfect amount for this. And see if you can kind of keep that 2 teaspoons in the brush. And then that's the way you measure. A lot of people do that, and it's a great way to do it. Very practical. I'm a big fan of those practical kind of measuring methods. This lather looks terrific. I still got plenty. Still have plenty in the bowl. It smells good. I can smell some of it coming up to me. So I'm contrasting this with the Baker St that I used yesterday from Strop Shoppe. It did not really come up to my nose. There wasn't, it was a pleasant scent, but even what came up to me wasn't strong enough for me to grasp the complexity of the different notes. While I was shaving, I just didn't get a good hint of what it was. What did get to me you know, was pleasant, but it definitely wasn't complex by any means. It wasn't really something to, you know, particularly enjoy and appreciate. So I'm sure this guy is going to be a little stronger. An online viewer asked me with yesterday's shave if I had used the Stirling Baker St. So I dug through my bin of samples and found it years ago. This is a look at that elasticity. Yeah, how about that, huh? Let's try that out. So this did really well with just shooting the 2 teaspoons, you know, right into the lather from the beginning, and then you just mix until it looks right. Okay. All right. So this is the Stirling 1250, if I forgot to say that. No, 1800. All right, now let me just a little pre-rinse. All right, now these tips have been really nice, very comfortable. Doing a great job of lifting soap from creams, hard soaps, you know, whatever. So I really like this brush. The tips are going to get even softer. Now, let's take a look at what this little pass looks like. It looks like I'm getting some clumping here. So, let us increase the water just a bit. You know what I can do now that I got this little bowl full of water down there? I can just dip down in there to... Now, that's pretty convenient. Yep, still kind of some clumping and not quite smooth look to it. I don't, since I'm new to this whole dipping the tips of the soapy brush to add more hydration, I'll have to try a few different types of movements and, you know, how deep to dip it, you know, that sort of thing. I think I've gone back to the water three times now. A little creamier, but not much. You know what I'm going to go to? I'm going to take my little spray gun. Yeah. And I can just kind of spray right into the brush like that. I like to distribute the soap, the water droplets a little bit. Keep it from dripping right out of my soap brush. Yeah, see, this lather's a lot better. So this particular instance, maybe the 2.5 teaspoons would have been better. Lather feels great. All right. Got the speckles on me. Let's see. So I will, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take and put a half a teaspoon of water in my lather bowl, and I'll mix that up just a little bit here, but a little bit more after I rinse, so we can kind of get that lather a little wetter. All right, back to that in a minute. I'm liking this scent. Oh, and see, rinsing my fingertips now becomes an easy task where I don't have to bother the faucet. All right, clear the unshaved area. And just a quick swipe in the water there. You, the viewer, might enjoy not having to listen to the faucet. If I had the time, it'd be funny to do some post processing on my videos and like pick some sound effects or something like that to play while I went to the faucet. Now I just swish in the water. How about that? We'll keep trying that. See if I like it. Definitely some perks. See if there are any drawbacks. Just a quick pass here. Very light. I'm not really concerned with taking a bunch of hair off. Just to knock down the mass of it. All right, and now rinse, and this I will do under the faucet, and that will also then help to clear away the soap clods that are now in that little bowl I have there. Left my face fairly wet, because I bet I still need some water in this lather. Just added half a teaspoon, so let's just load the brush. Oh, this lather looks so great. Sterling is such a good soap. You get a lot for your money, and it's a great performer. They have tons of scents. I love the fact that they have done a lot with men's colognes. They have a lot of colognes inspired by very popular men's colognes, even some old classics, some new favorites as well. You know, of course, Executive Man is super popular because it's based on Aventus by Creed. Okay, this lather feels perfect. I think I got it in just right. Okay, cross grain on the cheeks. Pulling my shoulder back to help to kind of tighten up that area of my jawline and cheeks. Harder to do when I'm shaving with this hand because this hand needs the shoulder forward. Maybe that's why my left cheek is usually gets shaved a little closer, a little nicer and smoother. And now I'm gonna do a cross grain section right here in my little trouble area right here. Oh, that went against the grain because there was a swirl right there. So that's another reason why I do short strokes in that area. All right, very nice. Rinse time. All right, now we're going to lather up. That went really well. This bowl is working great. Plenty of lather. Putting on the third pass now. And I've still got 2 or 3 passes left in there. So my muscles are going to be sore in a couple of days. I had a month or 2 or 3 ago, our dryer burnt up, clothes dryer. So I had to visit the local laundromat on a regular basis. But with young kids, they dirty clothes really fast, and so it was really frustrating. Well, we hooked up with a dryer on Craigslist. Installed it tonight, and unfortunately it works, and it's an old one, but it's a good brand. So and it came from what appeared to be a good home that was cared for, you know. So we're going to take a risk and do it, and we'll have to, I think we're washing maybe $1.50 per load, because we were doing the wash here and then taking it to the laundromat to do the drying, and so the drying's cheaper than the washing. And so if I divide up how much we paid for it, which is a nice price, happy with it, and then with per laundromat trip, I'll see how many loads I need to do to get my money back, you know, because these are used, and our previous ones lasted a nice long time. They were used as well off Craigslist, but they did really well. Boy, I think 8 years, something like that. And they had already they'd been used a couple for a while before we got them. So that was a real blessing. And so I washed some of my clothes. I didn't want to chance the new dryer on my wife's clothes. Face feels great, comfortable. This is a nice scent. I thought there was supposed to be like some leather, wood, you know, that sort of stuff. but I'm not really, I'm smelling mostly green with that punchy citrus, maybe the orange family citrus zest. So I like it a lot better than I did the first time I tried it. Yeah, it's mostly just that kind of green scent. So it's not super special, to me at least. It's classy. I could definitely see a person enjoying the aftershave from this. You know, I could see that going really well. Just kind of understated. I mean, it's a little punchy, but as long as, I mean, the aftershave's not going to be super strong. It'll fade after a little while. And that's the third pass right there. I am loving this bowl right there. All right. And now a rinse. So I've gotten an excellent shave. The lather was terrific. Creamy rinse, felt very good and luxurious. Really, I'm super happy with Stirling, and I got this one dialed in nicely. The scent, yeah, I could see it as a year-round scent easily. You know, just kind of green. Maybe there's some other things in there that helped it to be a little bit more interesting, but they weren't too easy to notice. However, it was nicely present during the shave, so that was cool. It wasn't too understated, wasn't too muted to enjoy during the shave. So you got a good performance as well as a scent able to be enjoyed during the work. So in the end, I think I had a slightly rounded 1/4 teaspoon of Stirling, and that may be why I had to add some more water. If I do that exact amount of soap again, which I clearly don't need to because I showed you how much extra lather I have, you know, then I could say going to 3 teaspoons with that, but because, you know, I did use the sprayer to add water and hydrate. All right, and so this also, the water I added to the lather was distilled, and so that does sometimes affect the efficiency of a soap. Many soaps are hard water tolerant, but if you do add a good portion of the clean water, they can sometimes lather up a little better and a little more efficiently. All right, well, I'm really happy with this bowl concept. So after it took a while to rinse my face, but the water is pretty clear. And so there's that. I could use it. I just dumped it out kind of by habit, but I could use it to wash my brush, that sort of thing. So I definitely will be continuing with that. Maybe find a different bowl to use, but to be honest, this one worked really well. So, all right, so let me throw on some post-shave. So to be honest, I think this Baker Street kind of smells as a relative of Sharp Dressed Man. Also from Stirling here, a little bit of Balm. Similar. Oh, come on now. Dripped right out of my hand. Where'd it go? Well, so to finish my dryer story, I had to lug that dryer all the way up a flight of stairs, up a half a flight of stairs, and I got a rope to make sure everything was safe, but my muscles are going to be yelling at me in 1 or 2 days. It is going to be rough. I was able to use a dolly for part of it, but you have to climb a flight of stairs with, you know, holding a clothes dryer. Whew. I mean, it may be hard to shave tomorrow and maybe the next day. We'll see. And, with a used unit, I carried it all the way up the stairs, positioned it in place, and I went ahead and plugged it up before connecting the rear duct, because I wasn't about to do that work before I knew it was going to work. And that was nervous for a little bit because the power, the breaker had been shut off when the guy came out and tried to fix our old one. And so I went down and I thought, let me make sure the breaker's on. Sure enough, that was the problem. It didn't work at first. And so then it worked. And so I put one load of laundry through it. Everything works great. But man, it has been a workout of a day. That is for sure. This Sharp Dressed Man matches really well with Baker Street. I don't have a lot of post-shave products, compared to the number of soaps that I have. I just picked a few favorites, and these two definitely go together, in my opinion. All right, so that was 128 shaves now with the Nacet. And I'm going to clean up, get rid of this extra lather and soap, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, just finished stropping the 1800 on the towel back there, and he's widening out a little bit. It's a good little brush, and these things are just less than $15 on Amazon. It is, or eBay. I get mine off eBay. The Portuguese Factory is the name of the eBay seller, who is the actual Semogue maker in Portugal. It takes a while to get them, but the price is great, and they can do free shipping, so, or very reduced shipping. Maybe they build it into the price a little bit, but holy cow, it's where I get all my Semogue brushes. Really happy with them. I've ordered, 4 or 5 from them, so really happy. These tips are already where I want them to be. It's neat, really fun to see them get even softer as they keep splitting, but I'm really happy with the way they are right now. If this really widens out a ton, I can take a O-ring, rubber O-ring, put it down here at the bottom, and so that'll bring it together a little bit to help focus those fibers toward my face instead of off to the side. So happy with this little guy. I think now he's either got 7 or 8 uses in him, and he's just tremendous. All right, I don't know when this razor is going to quit, this blade, but it just doesn't seem to be degrading very much. I definitely think it's going to make it to 150, and I'm just a couple away now from 130. We'll pause after that. I just got a new razor in, a vintage Gillette raised flat bottom, and so I'm looking forward to trying that. So we'll wait till after I hit 130 to do that. The shave was terrific. Really happy. Fairly happy with the scent. It's nice. I probably, if I have too many scents, which I do, I'm probably not going to bring in a big old tub of Baker St. However, if I had to use it for an extended period of time, because I was maybe vacationing and that was the only tub of product they had in the hotel, or whatever, I would be very happy to enjoy using it for any length of time. It's good stuff. Great performance as usual from Stirling. Nice slick lather, so good. The no irritation, no weepers, of course, nothing like that. Just a tremendous shave, and a nice close one too. I checked after my just 3 passes. That technique is just the one. It's the money shot for me, if you will. The main guy, where my hair kind of grows right here. It grows this direction, and so I have always done a cross direction like this because it's fairly comfortable. But if I come up from right here, especially if I do it more of a vertical instead of a diagonal, has a slight against the grain nature to it, and that really does a good job of taking care of those stubborn hairs. I think they lay too close to the skin. I don't know if but I have to be careful with the angle too much, and it generates a little bit of razor burn irritation because my neck is just that way with ATG passes. Anyway, but it worked out really well today, and I don't guess there's anything else. I did discover that the Sharp Dressed Man is a great companion to the Baker St for me. All right, now, I hope there was something here for you. I'm sorry for the extended, drier story. I try to reserve those kind of things for like the meditative aspect of mixing up a lather or something, so it's not taking up more time, so I apologize for that. But we're so glad to finally get it drier in place. I was just kind of enthused about it and kind of couldn't hold back. Hey there. Good night. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and you take care.